Okay, we have like two more sessions, but the first one is we have like we are joined by two international speakers, and then we have a panel discussion for the local representatives over here. So our first international guest speaker is Mr. Tim Kasim. Uh, Tim is an international sustainability standard board technical staff at the IFRS Foundation. He's part of the technical team developing the ISB's inaugural draft IFRS disclosure standard. Tim has an MSc in Accounting, Organization and Society from London School of Economics and Political Science and DPhil in Management Studies from Said Business School, University of Oxford. So he will be joining us and will be answering any of your questions. And Sohail Malik will be moderating this particular session. Okay, Arslan Khalid will be doing the moderation of this session.
Hi. So thank you, first of all, Mr. Tim Qasim and also Michael Zinoy for joining us today. This is the first seminar that we are doing in Pakistan on the sustainability reporting standards. So I think from that point of view, I think the team here is quite excited to the discussion that we are looking in the coming months also on how the sustainability reporting will be envisaged in the Pakistan context. We have lots of people in the room, and we have taken technical presentations on the two standards that the ISSB has issued and the exposure drafts. And although I think these are complex standards with many of the terms and requirements that are new to us as a profession, but at the same time, we are quite hopeful that we are, in a learning process as others, and over the course of time, we will be more familiar with the requirements and how those should be implemented. But certainly, I think we are looking forward to more implementation guidance and illustrative approach on how the standards would be, how the disclosures would be laid out across different industries, because each industry may have their own particular issues and circumstances. So we're not aware how much it is in the work plan of the ISSB to develop illustrations and examples on different climate and other ESG topics for more of an educative interest, and because we believe as a profession that we have to move from the traditional corporate balance sheet reporting to the more broader economic reporting. So I think that those kind of educative material will be helpful, and we look forward to that. But I will now request the House and people around to raise any of the questions or comments that they have. It's a good opportunity to interact directly with the people who are making the standard and share experiences. Sohail has, I think.
Hi, Tim. Hi, Michael. Thank you for joining. Uh, I have a question around materiality, and can you please explain that how materiality under sustainability standards would interact with the materiality that's normally we see in the financial reporting? So if it would be helpful that how users as well as preparers would be looking at this aspect. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you for the research for these are elements area and there is a lot cover at the time, but it's important to also frame this as around line standards are being and it's really to address the activities to understand what are the potential risks and opportunities of the business with the current people who are and really standards address this based on as a business what are the risks larger closely ways to management and how do you communicate to your investor and then the extra foundation. Many people so the reality determination of the plan in macro that we have been asking you is thinking inspired by the intelligence that you know from financial accounting as well. It is that investing purpose, what is information about the business is important to your current financial investment. Do you have something?
They showed up for next month for that discussion. I also people realize that it can be direct. And yeah, I think I would agree with Mike that the way that the reality is applied in practice is such a way that it's the root existence with the IFRS standard. Because for us, our community with IFRS standard is really important. At the end of the day, the reason that we are pushing standards forward is because we want to supply more equal information in practice. Climate creates simply a full capability, creating efficiency. But ultimately, the reality is the term that which companies, parents, and whether we get particular information should be included in that very important program.
Okay, thank you. There's another question from Usman.
Usman, yeah. So basically, we have seen that what happens is that normally management is spending more time in reporting actually than really doing what they have to actually report for. So while I was seeing different presentations here, I could just realize that all of this is quite cumbersome. This might take a lot of time, and although the importance of sustainability cannot be denied at all, but it should not be like this that the management ends up spending more time on reporting rather than working on sustainability itself. So how to address this challenge?
Excellent question. Thank you for that. This is very important. And standards are really there to provide management support and the company to report on what they're doing. That's very important to business planning. And the majority threshold that we did look at was actually the key element is the presentation was part of the detailed standard, and there are a lot of methods and requirements that we need to be recorded. Have some of the three units to the practice. So we have this to be another part. But the reality is that it is up to the business to determine what is material information for their investors to know. And this really filter makes this a lot more the way that the standards themselves are the pillars of the DCI so that was mentioned earlier, really focus on the business and accountable categories. We look at the governance. What is the governance process? And what is the systematic risk opportunities they are and what are the actual tools to manage and identify and handle when it comes to this so when we look at the standards, we do this with the menu of disclosures, and it is up to you as the accountant to advise the business on which
if I can add that, so like, and also, kind of what information, right? And if you want to bring anything, let's say that if you get data, actually, you don't have to go there of this. And by the way, this is what we are going to be doing in the future in order to address the issue. So it's really, not meant to be not competent. Certainly not try to sufficient to restrict the rule of management or the rule of management. And instead, I think what we want to get out of this is to management with interact with their audience. Require more insight. So what is management like? And that is important for practice. I think the other thing that I would add as well would be we're looking quite keen to get to see what which aspect of the to make our more digital. We should want our more digital have this beyond the aspect. So that area that we are going to think very hard on, the area, and it would be easy for because it is a focus and kind of actually. So in order to be the right and I mean, an important area for us is to how identify which areas you think require a bit more motivation, have three or higher that would be required to key of those content.
Up till now, we have been more of reporting historical information. Under IFRS S1 and IFRS S2, we will be reporting more about the risks and opportunities, sustainability related risks and opportunities, and those information, for example, the measures that will be taken by the company in order to mitigate those risks or to capitalize those opportunities. So my question is, most of the companies will be reluctant to disclose those information because if such information is disclosed, so it will be having a lot of impact on the competition. Other competitors will be knowing those information and vendors will be knowing those information if future information is being disclosed. And my second question is connected with the first question is, how will regulators and the auditors will be ensuring the completeness of those information, whether it is completely disclosed or not?
I have a little I think that's really frustrating with forward and we use our for short, medium, and long term. That is always an element of that reality, element of ownership, sensitivity, and ultimately you still have to that, and that would be not useful for everybody. Within the general requirement portion of itself, there is associated with aggregation and aggregation with especially that we want information, but it's aggregated in such a way that it would require direct information to use it, but having by voice might be right. We're not asking you to find more professional or needed for instance to your particular department, but we're asking for overall view that helps veterans understand your business more better. We can see that your business model is affiliated with the long term that is more like that it will be interested in I think with regard to assurance, that's an area that we are thinking about. Obviously,
in terms of that, the point you made is very important. This is about how the investments find the right investments, and what I think about the risk of this, another is about making sure to get the long-term investment to support the business ambition, away from the risk of all the risk of right. The other point I would also ask is that in my view, the more important element of the disclosure is how robust is the risk management process, how robust is the business in identifying it and making sure that you are on top of managing it. And if you move to disclosure, that means disclose some of the risk and disclose what you're doing. This actually sets you apart from your competitors and sets you up to be a very robust investment option. And I think many investors will know exactly what they're investing very well. They know their investments and they will be able to get aware of what they will be looking for. In my opinion, are businesses who are aware of the risks that they are investing.
Considering that these standards are targeted for investors, so why we are attaching it with the general purpose financial reporting? I mean, if it's targeted with the if it's targeted for lenders and investors only, what if we keep it separate? Considering the previous question that our disclosing a lot of information that's asked in these standards will be available to our competitors as well. So considering if we keep it as a separate financial separate set of disclosure, will it be more helpful?
Yes, go ahead.
I think you might have some more technical and important about, but these two are more relevant of factors, other things these two hold for. And so looking at everything together is important. But also looking at many opportunities are also there. One interesting use of you mentioned together is an investor. So when an investor is looking at part of the business plan and the activity of the business and narrative of the report, and then they come back to the financial and the R&D. And so whether they're actually running the kind of they're saying that they're innovating and looking at new ways to do business or only is there investment construction that is so these are interesting issues.
You know, maybe I had more that really what I mentioned. With a lot of activity with financial statements being reported. And in fact, the IFC, National Financial Report, has also added a few ESG projects that were with lowering the fact of financial risk. On the financial statement, it makes sense to actually have sustainability, which is in the association as the financial statement. In order to look at activity to understand how it is affecting the financial engagement right now, already, and also look at how it affects financial engagement in the short, medium, or long term. And again, we're not asking for detailed information that would be any commercial institution, but we're looking for direct information. And in most meetings, what we said is that one that we are asking for what information required either or arrange. That's kind of the flavor that we're asking direct information that would enable that activity to be a good solution as the financial.
I just wanted to know that what is the scope of these both standards, S1 and S2? Are they applicable to all type of industries like manufacturing, trading, and equally to the financial industries? If yes, if these are applicable to financial industries, then how they would be accounting, reporting to carbon emissions, because these industries are not directly engaged in such type of activities. Thank you.
So if you have
Yes. Um, my question actually is that sustainability reporting, as we know, as we all know, is very important and essential. But how is sustainability reporting going to apply to certain industries and sectors and certain companies which have very low carbon footprint? For example, an IT solutions company or a small manufacturing company or maybe say a mutual fund. I mean, how are these basically sustainability reporting apply to those sort of sectors and companies?
It's very fresh. The least is, if you don't have to much in your job. So it's not about making every business side really big, but it's still constantly. So one of the key considerations of sanitary focus is to make sure it's an undue burden on business. We said that there are in certain sectors, there are tensions further related issues society. So we mentioned tax risk around the investments of the business, or if you're financial institutions that are really being cut. But it's kind of a business if there's any risk in that, that's great. There's usually some. The important part is to make sure that we can go back to the and so the investing see that done rigorous assessment of the risk and opportunities and the I think this is going to be our
We have just one last question from Nazis.
So I'd just like to ask two questions. One is related to materiality. You did mention it in the beginning, but the concept of double materiality as it is coming up in the EU legislation, how does that come into the ISSB? And the other question is related to KPIs. I know we've looked at the TCFD in detail and how it's going to be linked, but what about the other KPIs that are covered in the GRI, and how will the ISSB standard improve comparability in that?
Maybe I will start with the first question about the legality. I think it's really important to start point slowly that with different jurisdictions or the initiatives that we have to CRI, that they are not necessarily solely defined for the purpose of defense. CRI want to make more efficient and the group is also developing CSP, but they are designed for further purposes, different ways of efficient one. So the CSR the standard is designed with involved ingredients, right? To fulfill that ambitious climate target. So I think the reality which that we take would be quite that. So for us, the reality is that information, community information, value. But for them, they have a different mechanism as well within the people, the European public. So that's really important to talk about some of the things that get it. To me, it's sort of direct climate and how I'm going to fight that. We are API really we all work with all these GRI and things like metrics. Really important to make sure that if the vendors are already doing political and GRI, that we're not posting any further that. And likewise, we start with ISSP and then we look at okay, I might not start further. So having that over the time is really important. And in fact, you find MOU with work and contribution to show that the good better really highlight.
Okay.
So the way we do it, some of us are building blocks, and it's global baseline of sustainability with standards, and hopefully globally, and another where businesses are getting out on the from, they're getting the same information consistently, and they're unable to do something that they have in the company. But on top of that, the jurisdictions, the more physical structures, they add on additional building costs and therefore provide something to that level. The one I said, I want to do the economic compensation, additionality, the kind of build up.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Tim and Michael, for taking your time, I think, for extensive discussions with us. And it's a pleasure. And we look forward to more and more sessions on this topic in the coming months before the standard finally take its shape. And we look forward to also your time as we move forward in this journey. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, and I wish you a good
Same here. Thank you.
Okay, in the last we have one panel discussion, and Arsalan Khalid will be moderating the session, and I would like to invite the first panelist, Sayyid Fahimul Hassan Sahab. Our second panelist is Mr. Syed Ahsan Ali, who is partner ESG, Climate Change and Sustainability Reporting in KPMG, Pakistan. Next panelist is Ms. Nazish Sheikha, Head of Research, Pakistan Business Council. Then we have Mr. Muhammad Shahzad, Director of Finance, Unilever, Pakistan. So we have one question in the chat box as well. So if you have any other question with the panelists, so we will cover that during our question and answer session. Thank you.
Okay. So thank you, Salman. I think it's at 9 o'clock. ESG means eat, sleep, and go. So, well, I think we'll try to be short and just touch upon the key practical angles that have come out of this discussion and very detailed technical presentations, I think. Personally, I've learned a lot today from the sessions of both the standards and also the question and answer sessions. I think the concepts may become more clearer as we move forward in months and years. So I think when you look at this from a very traditional point of view, the corporate reporting landscape is changing, right? It's changing from the balance sheet and P&L based reporting and financial statements concept to more broader economic value reporting. And all the factors that we have been discussing about ESG and climate and enterprise value, all that reporting will come to in one place, which will certainly enlighten investors more about a company. Now, accountants have been, playing a very central role in the corporate reporting over the years. So my question to you, Fahim, is that, how do you see the role of the profession evolving with this change in the corporate reporting?
Yes, very much. It has to, because in order to keep pace with the world, and we are part of the global village, we have to keep our reporting up to the mark. There are challenges, definitely. These standards are onerous. These are extensive standards, require a lot of data churning, data analysis, data manipulation. But slowly and gradually, we will catch. And as in the arena of financial reporting, we evolved, and we were, at one point in time, we were probably in the region first and the foremost to adopt all the accounting standards. At that time, it used to be IAS. And then the rest of the nations, and in fact, the West adopted them just recently. So in this area also, we should not lag behind. Yes, the challenges are there. The existing reporting in this area obviously requires a lot of, the gap is big, and that has to be filled by accountants. Nobody else can do that.
So accountants apparently would have to take a leading role as ESG professionals, from the financial reporting to, and that's, I think, this the biggest opportunity that the profession has today, in terms of its development and growth. So I think the next, coming towards the businesses, I think we have been talking about, a lot of pressure from the world in terms of the investors and also the capital markets and also the banks. They all are actually focusing on the sustainability targets more, and I think times to come we'll see, not only the financial results, but also the sustainability KPIs will make up more of the investment mind. In that context, I think how do you see the Pakistani businesses responding and feeling the need of sustainability reporting? How many companies are really thinking about ESG strategy? And I think Nazish, you are working with Pakistan Business Council. You actually may be interacting more with the businesses in Pakistan. So do we really moving towards it, or it's really on the drawing board at this point in time?
Not directly investors right now, but just buyers, and these are the things that they're asking. So we do get a lot of queries now, and this has grown. So we've been, well, I'll just give you a little background of the Pakistan Business Council and the Center of Excellence in Responsible Business. So the center was set up in 2016 at the Pakistan Business Council, and we've been sort of gathering data since 2017 on sustainability reporting. And what we've seen is that while the number of companies publishing sustainability reports has not increased in the before COVID, but now in 2021 we've seen a huge interest of other companies as well, that now we're supposed to be publishing a sustainability report. For a little while, the interest was towards the SDGs, but now we're seeing a direct interest now into ESG. So the Sustainable Development Goals, Dr. Shamshad mentioned a lot about them today. They also have targets and indicators, but those indicators are for our country to report on. But now when we talk about ESG, that is more related to the business. So I guess because of the way the discussion is going globally, we're also seeing it locally as well.
Okay. So Shahzad, I think you are, Unilever is quite active in the, net zero ambition. And I think many of the companies are in this league which have announced the plans to be net zero by certain year. Working with the company, what changes have you observed in terms of the policies, actions, or processes and controls and governance, etc., towards the ESG landscape?
Arslan, Unilever's net zero ambition, in fact, by the way, for the benefit of the audience, Fahim Saab very aptly and in detail described what net zero stands for effectively. Unilever's net zero ambition is enshrined in the climate transition action plan that we sort of put to a shareholder vote 2 years ago. And it ended up getting 99% of the shareholders voting in favor of it. And fundamentally, the philosophy behind it is the fact that climate change is the single biggest threat, not just to the businesses out there, but to the consumers and society at large. And to this effect, of course, the Paris Accord, Dr. Shamshad mentioned it a couple of times, happens to be the single most ambitious climate commitment that has ever been made. Unilever has chosen to set itself completely in line with that ambition. In fact, our net zero ambition is to achieve it by 2039, 11 years ahead of the Paris Accord. And what effectively that means is that we'd be actioning it across 4 broad areas of attack, so to speak. The first one, of course, which again, referring back to Fahim Saab's presentation, covers our immediate operations, which is scope 1 and scope 2. We've achieved, as a group, Unilever globally has achieved 100% renewable electricity in January of 2020. That's out of the way. That's something that we're very proud of. But now we want to move ahead and achieve 100% renewable in our heat usage also. And that's something that we want to pursue. We hope to achieve that by 2030. Alongside, within our operations ambit, we also want to move away from the GWP or global warming potential refrigerants now to less GWP refrigerants. And to that effect, that also features as part of our net zero target. Now, that's a global ambition. I'll tell you a bit about how we've tried to respond to that locally here in Unilever Pakistan. We are about 78% on renewable electricity as a Unilever group in Pakistan. Our solar capacity to generate is about 8 megawatts, which is of which ice cream factory in Lahore is about 4.2 megawatts and is the single largest solar plant in the Unilever world. We've already reduced our carbon emissions on that front by about 77%. In terms of technology that we're deploying in our factories, our CapEx proposals in terms of manufacturing primarily have a very clear mandate of clearing a sustainability gate, short of which our investments will not meet a certain threshold for approval. And our global approach and our effort in moving towards cleaner energy has also led us to conclude that this can be achieved with a cost-neutral impact, which gives us a lot of confidence as we move on to our Scope 3 emissions. Now, Scope 3 emissions are by and large the biggest aspect of the emissions that the group generates globally. About 75% resides in the RM, PM, and the logistics value chain of our product portfolio. To that effect, multiple approaches are being taken. One being to move away from products primarily in our laundry and cleaning portfolio where bulk of fossil fuel related carbon is used. Now we want to move away from a carbon which is sourced from fossil fuels to a carbon which is renewable and recyclable. And that involves a lot of chemistry and a lot of science. And that is something that we are very actively investing in. And this, by the way, the entire net zero mandate is for the entire Unilever market, right? Which means that no single country can opt out of it. We all have to play our part. Then comes plastic, which of course is the bane of modern day existence, if I may. On that front, our ambition is to cut down the use of virgin plastic as a group by 50% by 2030, sorry. And of course, move 100% of our plastic usage across the value chain to plastic that is reusable, recyclable, and compostable. On plastics, Unilever Pakistan has made fantastic strides. Many of you may know that Unilever Pakistan has a commitment to make Rahimia Khan, which houses our first and the biggest factory in Pakistan, a plastic waste-free city by 2025. That is a bold commitment, and that is a commitment that we are proud of. We are also founding members of the Core Alliance, which aims to collect plastic, and ambition being we collect more than we put into the environment. And that is something that we are already involved in. In fact, about 4,000 kgs worth of plastic that we produce under the banner of Walls Ice Cream, we've already converted that into park benches and play areas. So that's a microcosm of all that we're trying to do. And this is an effort that we are committed to completely. The sustainability mandate towards the end, I would like to highlight, is something that the board and our chief executive directly monitors and holds itself accountable to. And as part of the Reward Connect that Fahim Saab also mentioned as part of the governance agenda, 25% of the long-term vesting of management performance shares is related directly to sustainability. So it covers all the areas. It gives me a lot of confidence that once the standards are put into place and we are able to get over the teething problems, as a unit, we'd be able to contribute very effectively towards the sustainability landscape of the country.
I think very great efforts, I would say. I think all the companies start doing it. Imagine the world would be a much better place to live in. So, Ehsan, sorry for keeping you wait. Actually, you have a very extensive experience working in ESG. Now, from a consultant point of view, I think, how do you see Pakistan market responding to the ESG in terms of our maturity level as compared to because the most places in the world, I think they are all in the learning phase. But our speed of learning as compared to the others, how do you rate it?
It's better. I'll start with. Thankfully, we have Best Corporate Reporting Award. So that has actually imposed, a little pressure on all these companies and small companies, even in textile sector. In order to achieve that award, they have been in the past were attempting to comply either with GRI or IR or any other framework which is relevant. And number two thing is the pressure from parent companies. Like in case of Unilever, the whole pressure is coming from the parent company. So Unilever in Pakistan is happy to implement their Compass strategy. Why? Because there is a lot of pressure from their parent company. Similarly, for other areas, and Nazish as well, Nazish mentioned that the pressure majorly in the textile sector and pharmaceutical sector is coming from the buyer side. So usually, or maybe the supplier side or the franchisers, so they have to comply in those regions in EU and all the other areas with those local or regulations which are actually creating a pressure on our textile sector as well as pharmaceutical companies and in FMCG as well, in oil and gas sector as well, that they have to comply or they have to at least create some data or report some data to their parent companies on these particular agendas or ESG space, I'll say. So the readiness was there, but in an unstructured form, and as Dr. Shamshad also mentioned that till to date it's voluntarily. So there is no regulatory pressure or regulatory, imposition on reporting these numbers in our financial reports. So the readiness is there, but some sort of structured approach is required, some regulatory pressure is required, and I think then all of us will be able to report in the manner which is required by the global standards.
So do you think we should focus firstly on the high-risk industries rather than, just to be more focused on the implementation of the reporting rather than picking every company?
True.
And shortlist what are the 5-7 sectors that
agreed
really are high risk.
And that's the approach that is actually being discussed in the corridors of regulator and on the task force as well, in the ministries as well, that our approach could be modular approach. We can't go to everybody and ask them to apply the generalized standard. So the roadmap and the attempt till to date is actually a sectoral approach, where we have been identifying the sectors which are more vulnerable and are more impacting our environment, and then linking those to the national agenda of 2030, Pakistan's national agenda, which is in agreement with the Paris Accord. So approach from regulatory side as well as from the pressure groups and from the sectors as well is actually the one which you are talking about, a modular approach where we are actually identifying 4 to 5 majorly, contributing sectors, and then targeting them, at least starting the reporting side from those sectors, and then we'll move to or expand the scope or canvas of this whole reporting structure. So the approach is similar, which you are talking about, Arsalan, and I think will make more sense in Pakistani
All right.
environment.
So I'll not talk more about the audit of the information because we are at a stage where, the International Assurance Standard Board is also in the process of making and shaping the standards on the audit side of the reporting, which is also equally important so that this information is more credible. And we are talking more about the qualitative information, KPIs. So much more need for audit methodologies around it. But I think I'm also conscious of the time actually. So although it's quite a interesting discussion, and but I think in the interest of the time, and so we'd like to conclude this session. Thank you very, very much for all of you gathering here for us. Thanks. I think.
Thank you very much, all the panelists and the moderator, Arslan.